Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our BKFC Reddit. Ask Me Anything. We're joined by a good friend of mine, Mr. Ryu Petersen. How you doing, sir?
I'm well, Gator. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Where the hell are you at? Like, this is not your home compound. You got the gym at the house. You look someplace new.
Yes, sir. Here I am opening a gym in Fortuna, California. 1103 Main Street, Fortuna, California. We are opening up WKX Humble, a branch off of the gym that I came from up in Vancouver, Canada. And so far, we're just trying to get the ball rolling. This Monday, the 10th, we're going to be open. So it's a bit of a madness. Going to open Monday on the 10th and then fight on the 15th. But you know what? Life is better busy than bored. That's for sure.
I mean, was it always the goal? Hey, we're going to open this gym right before, or is it just how stuff worked out? I mean, like, what's going on?
It was just kind of how it worked out, but at the same time, it's always been a goal of mine to open a gym. Years ago, I had like a journal, and I'd write in it. I found one just not that long ago from 2009. Number one goal: open a gym. I found another one 2012. Number one goal: open a gym. 2015, same goal: open a gym. Here we are, 2025. Things just started falling in place. A location came up. My friend Shannon sent me this location. Matter of fact, he was just here a moment ago. He sent me this location. He's like, dude, I found your spot. We spoke with the person, we know her, and it was almost like absolutely meant to be. We opened, this came in, the floodgates opened up, everything fell in place. Business license, LLC. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a smoother run as far as getting things going. So this has been pleasant. Insurance was a breeze. Everything's been great.
I'm going to let you dictate how this conversation goes. Do you want to talk about boring stuff about your fight coming up, or do you want to talk about fun stuff outside of fighting?
Hey, fun stuff outside of fighting. That sounds like fun. Not only that, I think a lot of times I probably look like a stiff on a lot of these interviews, when in actuality, I crack a lot of jokes, but I could be a bit of a rigid dude on interviews, probably.
Like, I only want people on the show who want to be on the show. You were one of the guys who reached out and said, "Look, I would like to come on your show," and I love it, and I'm so happy you come on, and you are fun to talk to. Like, you have great stories.
Oh, good. Thank you, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about this. You posted earlier today on your stream, like, at one point I was homeless, and now you have a gym. And like, how does a guy turn his life around from an awful teenager? You were a kind of an awful teenager. Like, you're in your 30s now, and you're like turned your life around.
Yeah. So actually, I just turned 40. I'm an old man
Oh,
now, but I feel good. I feel champ. I feel real good. So that's, it's funny. Like you said, I shared that today. My wife, I shared it initially privately. I shared it on like just the, close people or whatever. And my wife's like, you need to make that just public. And I was a little bit hesitant to make it public because it's a bit shameful, to be honest with you. But looking back, all the things that I had gone through, the particular photo that I shared was one of me with a few of my friends were in my bedroom. One of my friends was smoking crack in the photo. I didn't smoke crack, thank God. Luckily, I never went that route for whatever reason. I decided not to go that route. But they were all in my house just smoking crack, telling me how bad their ears were ringing from smoking crack, things like that. Probably about a month or a few weeks before that photo, I was homeless. I slept outside September, October, November up in Washington State. I lived in a gazebo, and I can look back and just think about just how awful that was. So whenever I see my life in this position that it's currently in, I look back on that and I think, you know, partially that's unbelievable. That's crazy how I got there. I remember going to bed at night. I had a duffel bag, and I would just keep this duffel bag wrapped around me. Literally slept on the ground, and I'd always worry about closing my eyes at night, assume that somebody would come in. I always pictured somebody just coming and stomping on me while I was asleep or doing something like that. So I could see how being homeless would make you lose your mind because you lack sleep, you lack trust of anybody. You steal to eat because you didn't have a job. But this was also me just being an ignorant teenager, just foolish. I didn't know the rules of life at all. I was just out of the loop on the way things were going.
And you've turned it around. Like, you're like one of those like success stories, and a lot of those stories don't end up good. A lot of those people, the homeless youth, they end up dead. They end up like in prison. And you were able to turn your life around, and that's why I feel like it is important. And look, absolutely, I get the shame. There's so many things that I think in our past that nobody wants to be like, like, let's not talk about it. But you do embrace it, and I feel like it's for the best because you have turned your life around. And I feel like a lot of people find inspiration in your story.
Good. I hope so because you know what I mean. I'm not a superhero or anything like that. This was all hard work to get where I'm at. So there was I hate even people saying oh, you're lucky or anything like that. It's like you have no idea how difficult all this was to get everything in line. And as life went on, and there's like definitive moments in your life where things took hard turns. We mentioned before about my mom. I think we talked about this before. My mom attempting suicide. That was a massive pivotal turn in my life. Uh,
Sure.
One where you know your life is headed one way, and then all of a sudden it makes a hard right. Like, all right, we're changing direction. That was one of those things. Same with being homeless. That was one of those things where you just feel totally hopeless, helpless, and you don't see anything bright in your future. And then all of a sudden, once you um, kind of get the ball rolling in a positive direction, you have to keep that momentum going. Learning the way that life works. It's made me into a type A personality because before I wasn't. I was pretty lackadaisical about things growing up, didn't understand how it was. But once I got the ball rolling, I became militant in my discipline. And I think that's really what set me apart from all the other shoulda, coulda, wouldas, those type guys that were, well, one day I'm going to do this and that. And I just thought, no, I have to do it. And here, obviously, a little bit of a late start, I suppose you could say, because here I am 40 years old, just kind of getting the ball rolling in my BKFC career, so to speak.
Again, kudos for what you've climbed up to. I'm going to kind of bust your balls a little bit. We talked. You were supposed to start doing a lot more of the homesteading. People want to see that kind of stuff. And
Oh,
yes, you've gotten a little bit better with the social media. But again, like, where the hell I want to watch you farming and do some of that. Like I said, you are such a fascinating person, and I feel like other people are going to find it interesting too.
all right, I'll double down on that. I will now. Now that I like, wait, maybe I'll write it on my hand or tattoo it on my hand. Gator told me to do such and such. All right, no, for real, I will do that because so not before the fight, but after the fight, I got some work to do as far as like I gotta clean the chicken coop and everything like that. So we got some work to catch up to. So I will. Yeah, okay. I totally forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
All these people pay money to go to like dude ranches and do that kind of stuff, and that's just your everyday. It's funny because I have a neighbor and they have a farm, and when we first met these people, we wouldn't pay them, but we were like, hey, we want to come help you do your chores because it is fascinating. And growing up, I lived on the farm and I did that kind of stuff, so it was good for me to get my kid involved.
That's how I feel too. One, it creates discipline, and it's funny. You look at kids that grow up in successful households, they rarely become very successful people generally, right? You need some type of hardship to build that resilience, right? So giving my kids chores, giving my kids jobs that, hey, I'm not going to help you here. You have to do A, B, and C. You have to go clean the coop. You have to go get the eggs. You have to go, feed the sheep, things like that, and not help your kid. That's where they're going to build that self-esteem to accomplish things. And, I think you need that because if you grow up in a harder household, you're going to end up being resilient as long as you get through that. But growing up in a successful house, you don't want things to be too easy. But of course, I'm not going to, shit on my kids and make them way worse off. But you don't want things to be too easy. You don't want it to be a cakewalk when they get to become 18 and they just are completely helpless at life.
My son, and I love my son. And when he was younger, anything I asked him, he'd jump and do and go help. And now he's almost a teenager, and I've noticed he's starting to slack. So I've had to crack the whip down. But I mean, like, if you don't instill it now, they do turn into like kind of reckless teenagers. So like, I feel like that discipline is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I feel like that's what I needed in my life was a direction from a father figure, somebody that you trusted. And you need that. It's innate for a boy to want to be with his dad. Your dad is your superhero as you're growing up, right? And it's really hard to even break that because even me, I'm 40 years old. I still look up to my father. He's a great man. We have our, years and years of probably butting heads, and we
Sure.
were separate for a lot of years too. But I still look at him as being an example of a good, strong man. And it could have been way worse, obviously. But that's innate for a son to want to, you know, just look up to their father and become the best version of their father that they can be. And then me, I want my kids to surpass me. I want them to be better off than I am.
Okay, so let's talk about your gym real quick. Somebody signs up and comes to your gym. What are they learning? Are you teaching them bare knuckle fighting? Are you teaching them martial arts? Like, what are they learning when they go there?
So we'll have a kickboxing program. We'll have boxing as well, but I also do want to create like basically a bare knuckle program here as well, which might sound a bit daunting to the average person. I think that Kevin Smith has one at his gym too. I believe that they have a bare knuckle program, which is
They
good.
do.
And because, in my opinion, obviously, I think this is, everybody can notice this. Bare knuckle and boxing are not the same type thing. There's things you can get away with in boxing that you can't get away in bare knuckle, and vice versa. We'll have a jiu-jitsu program, submission wrestling program taught by a few guys here. Now, I don't teach any jiu-jitsu or anything like that, but we'll have everything. I want to bring this to the community. One, make a strong community, make people who in this community that maybe don't have the confidence come in here. It's a safe place to get confidence, to build it, become stronger, go out and be a better person in our community, and just make our community stronger, a strong, victimless community.
So in your community, are you known as the bare knuckle fighter guy? Like, I don't know how big of a community you live in. I wouldn't think it's super huge, but
No, it's not. I think our whole county is like 120,000 people, and we've got quite a large county. But my town that I live in is probably 700 people, and everybody's spread out. So for the most part, people probably do, if they know me, that's what they do know me for.
sure.
But at the same time, it's still kind of an obscure thing, right? Unless you're into combat sports, people don't know. But when I go out and about, people recognize me or want a picture or something like that, and I'm glad to do that. Glad to help out or do something, you know, speak well to some kids or something like that. Whatever's going on, I appreciate that because I needed that when I was young. I needed some direction, so I'm fine if I could be of service to somebody.
BKFC Palm Springs kind of feels like it was thrown together quickly. I know you and I had talked. They had given you another name. That name fell through. You have a gentleman. All I know is he's from Mongolia. I'm not going to disrespect him by saying his last name. He looks like a tough guy, but you were telling me that he's from the area. So, like, you've seen him. You don't necessarily know him as a person, but what can you tell us about your opponent?
Yeah, so it's funny enough. He's Mongolian, so he's definitely going to be tough, right? My old
Yeah.
roommate was from Mongolia, and he was tough as nails. Um, But with that said, he did. Yeah, he fought. He's actually, I think he lives in the Bay Area now. And so he
Okay.
lived, or he lives down there. He had fought up in my area a while back. So him and I have actually crossed paths at a show together. We haven't spoken or anything like that. Never shook his hand, never said hello to him. But yeah, he fought on the same show as I had fought previously. So comes from a good gym. He looks like he's tough. He looks strong. And I'm excited. I think it's a good test of will, good test of might for the both of us.
You're in that weight division where, like, right now, like, 165 is just insane. You got Bryce Henry trying to get a title shot. Jake Lindsey's hurt, but he wants to come back. Richmond potentially said, he wants it. Dustin Pegg's looking for a fight. Like, there's so many killers at 165. I mean, it's almost unfortunate you don't get a big name, but you also are coming off a loss. And like I said, it did feel like California is kind of thrown together. So this could be a tough fight. But I mean, many people want to see you fight the best of the best because you did look really good against Dustin.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I think you mentioned it in the last interview that 165 is a logjam of talent, right? I think it's the most stacked division in my opinion. And not only that, like one thing that you get guys that are 6'4", 165, 5'5", 165. I think it's the biggest plethora of sizes as well. It's quite a trip. But yeah, you know what? This is the name that was offered to me. That's the name I'm going to take. I haven't turned down anybody that they've offered me. And I just feel blessed to, be able to do what I love on the world stage. What a beautiful opportunity. Again, I could be out smoking crack with my friends. Instead, I'm fighting.
That is one of my favorite things about you because, like I said, I hear a lot of people. I talk to a lot of fighters, and they say the same thing, like, "Oh, I'll fight anybody. I don't care." But then, like, somebody who it was rumored they were supposed to fight this person. They go like, I was supposed to fight him, and they turned it down. But you are that guy that says, "I don't care who you are, I'll fight you." You fought Dustin Pegg. You get offered a guy who's making his debut. You fight him. Like whoever the name is, that's who you're fighting.
Hey, I kind of don't feel like I even have the bargaining power to say anything, anyways. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Maybe I'm being silly here, but that's just partially what I feel. Gator, one second here. My phone might kick off in a moment. Off of I have a timer on Instagram that keeps me off the Instagram here, and it just popped up. That I have a couple minutes here. If it does, I'll ignore it and message you right back. Okay.
No worries, man. You've seen him fight before. Like, I mean, did he have decent stand up? It's so hard to tell because bare knuckle is its own sport. Clearly, you're going to have the experience advantage, and I feel like that is a huge advantage. You are fighting a guy who's 0-0. I kind of like to see guys who are just coming in fight other debuts, but that experience is going to play heavy in your favor.
I feel the same way. I do feel like the experience of not only that, of being on a big show, being in there, knowing the rules of engagement in there, what matters, what counts. He looks like he's more of a stand-up guy, to be honest with you. What I've seen of him, he looks like he's got a nice right hand, and yeah, Yeah, exactly. Like you say, generally you see people who are 0-0 generally go up against each other. But to be honest here, I mean, I'm only what 4 fights in on my bare knuckle career, and the fact that I mentioned this before, I went from tryouts to main event in under a year, and that was like, I feel good about that. I feel blessed
Yeah.
about that. But it's, we're both still just young in our careers, to be honest with you.
It's crazy that you are like a year into your career, but people view you as one of the top of the top guys. You know what I mean? And it's got to be a great feeling.
That is a good feeling. Every time that they talk about me, Sean Wheelock and Chris Lytle, they mention like Ryan's up there with the elite.
Yeah.
That feels damn good to hear, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I'm not pulling any punches on that. That feels damn good to hear that. It feels validating for all the years of hard work that I put in here. So yeah, that's crazy. I always feel good to hear praise from them. It's nice.
All right, 2026. What do you see in store? I mean, you come off a win, this next weekend. Are you wanting to get right back in? Like, what are we doing?
You know what? I was thinking about taking off, being off for Christmas. I kind of wanted to spend a little bit of time with my family, as basically
Sure,
this will be my fourth fight in a year.
sure.
Fourth fight in a year for BKFC, and fifth fight within just a couple months of a year. So I've been pretty busy just with training the whole year for the most part. I'd like to take a little bit of time to reconnect with my family and spend the Christmas with them, and then after that, we'll just get the ball rolling and go till the wheels fall off. Time is of the essence with me. Again, being 40 years old, although I feel good, I mean, you can't go forever, right? Hold on 1 second.
No problem, man.
There we go. Sorry about that. There we go. Yeah, you can't go forever, and I don't know if I'm the superhuman that Yoel Romero is. You know what I mean? Being 48 and being what he is, I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't know, but I feel good as far as like my body hasn't taken a ton of damage, and I have no nagging injuries. Nothing like that. Never had any surgeries, but hey, I see the light at the end of the tunnel as far as it's a train coming towards me, but I'm squaring up and let's go. Let's balls to the wall, man.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease. It's one of those things like you don't want to be disrespectful. You don't want to call people out. But if you aren't, at least some sort of respectful and calling people out, BKFC will sit you on the sideline the entire, like it's one of those, if you don't say like, get me a fight, they kind of skip over you.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, you don't have time to sit and wait. I mean, I know there's people that are kind of just maybe they are tentative and they sit around and wait for that call. But even this one here, I was bothering them about it. As soon as I caught wind of this card going on, I'm like, hey, here I am. You know what I mean? This is my home. Let's do it. And of course, a lot of people were like, oh, are you already healed after the Dustin fight? I truly feel like I heal super fast, Wolverine style. You know what I mean? I had like my eyebrow was pretty busted up from Dustin, and maybe 10, 12 days later, it was good to go. And yeah, I mean, hey, you got to knock on the door if you want them to open up.
I can't lie. I honestly felt like the fight to make, and Dyer versus Hunt is absolutely main event. But I think you versus Drew Angelcore would have made a fantastic co-main event. And like I said, you're both two California guys. I thought that fight, I don't even think he's on the card, but I mean, like to me, that is you two guys at 165 who could bang and throw the entire time. That's a fight that I really want to see at some point.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time. I do think that's a great California card right there. Him and I think that would be good. All respect to Drew as well. You know what I mean? I don't mean any disrespect by saying that. I think it'd be fantastic. Maybe they put that on. Maybe they do it on a fight night or something like that. Like I said, NorCal versus SoCal, we can do it.
It'd be cool to see like tryouts really help the gyms. And if they do a Northern California card, you got the gym now, so they could do a BKFC tryout at your gym.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I really hope that they decide maybe to go hit Sacramento or San Francisco, Oakland or something like that. Do a show up there. That would be awesome. And again, too, if they bring tryouts there, then hey, you know what I mean. You could even bring them to my gym. It would be a small town. Again, the hard part is actually I live like as far away from anything as you can. I'm 5 hours from San Francisco. I'm 5 hours from Sacramento. I literally live in the middle of nowhere, so it's a struggle to get anywhere to and from here. And in the wintertime, we get landslides, things like that. So I that is a difficult part. But if they did a NorCal card, that would be awesome. I'd love that.
Okay, so again, you don't want to call anybody out, but you definitely want to give it. Like I said, a lot of people had you win in that first. You clearly won the first round. We saw a pretty controversial stop. Is one of those like going into this next fight. Is it one of those like if you get in any sort of trouble, just to take a knee because they will instantly wave off a fight sometimes.
That's a tough one. I don't know. I'm going to tell Andrew Glenn to back off. Or I have to punch him in the belly again. You know what? With that said, I really actually I take pride in the fact that I've never been down. I take pride in
Sure.
that. And to me, it didn't even occur to me like take a knee because he said I didn't assume that it was going to stop it. I didn't think so. Uh, you know what sticks in my mind is that scene in Raging Bull when Jake LaMotta is telling Sugar Ray Robinson, "You never got me down, Ray. You never got me down, Ray." You know that pops in my head. But uh, whoever the ref is, I hope that hey, listen, let me hit the deck, let me hit the ground, and go out on my shield. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that. And I would have loved for you know, Dustin to go for it too. I know Dustin was down. He would have done it too. I mean, he would have gone for it as well.
Sure.
By the way, I just want to say I love Dustin Pegg. That dude has been fantastic to me. Just how good he's been. We still text probably once a week at least. You know, he's been fantastic. What a an honorable man, honorable sportsman, and he's somebody that people should follow as far as hey how to behave for real.
He could be a diva, but he is the furthest thing from a diva, and that's what I mean. He's got the UFC pedigree. You know, he could be demanding, but he's one of those guys that says, "Look, a name comes across my desk, I sign the paper, I fight him. I don't care who it is." Awesome.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He didn't have to take the fight with me. You know what I mean? He
No,
didn't have to give me that opportunity. So, with that said, I'm forever grateful that he did that. It was a good I don't know, a good chance for me. And at the same time, he was nothing but a gentleman the whole time. You know what I mean? And this is, in my opinion, hey, we don't have to hate each other to fist fight, bro.
no,
I'll if they want to pay me some money to maybe fist fight my dad, okay, we can do that too. You know, hey, it's a test of might, dude. It's a test of character, a test of spirit. It's a test of all this training and everything that you're doing. It's not I hate you, so I have to hurt you. If that's the case, then it's just a street fight. You know what I mean?
sure.
And if that's what we got to do, then that's what we got to do. But that's the type of thing that you would see somebody on the street, you know, like you go swinging on them. I could like you and fight you and feel the honor in that. You know what I mean? I feel
Sure.
that there's a big honor involved in this game in general.
You're going to remember much better than I. Like I said, I remember your fight, but I don't necessarily remember everything. At any point, did Andrew Glenn say like, "Hey, fight back, or I'm going to stop it," or was it literally? I mean, that's one of those things. Like, I would like if a referee would go like, "Fight back, or I'm going to stop." At least give you kind of a warning, because, like you said, you're covering up, you're kind of moving, like you're doing everything that a guy's supposed to do, and then suddenly they jump in.
Yeah, no, he didn't say anything, so which was kind of a bummer. Even if he would have said, "Hey, do something, move," or you know what I mean. But either way, I was moving. My hands never
Sure,
went down. My hands were up. So again, yeah, it would have been nice if he said something. And I felt like too. Not only was it was pretty sudden as well. Dustin caught me with a good right hand. My hands went
sure,
up. I think I tried to slip, and then maybe he caught me with another punch, and then that's when he stepped in, and I could feel Dustin kind of had a little bit of pressure on me at that time. And then when Andrew Glenn came in, he pushed the pressure on me too. That's why I bopped him in the belly there because all I could see was just the black, you know. And I went
yeah.
boom and hit him, and I realized when I looked up, I said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "You're done." I said, "Why?" He said, "You're done," and that's all that was said. And then you know, I dropped the F bomb and I was gushing pretty good. And of course, a lot of people said, "Oh, maybe he stopped it because you're cut," but um, that's not his job. That's a doctor's job to determine that. You know what I mean? Dustin and I were both cut well as well, and they saw him fit to continue as well. And not only that, I think I don't know who came over and worked on it immediately, maybe G or the other gentleman, but they stopped the bleeding
Yeah.
pretty damn quick. Throw some epinephrine in there, a little bit of Vaseline, and it stopped for the rest of the night.
We probably have some of the best cut man in the game for BKFC. Like, they do
One
stuff
hundred percent.
incredible.
They are the best cut men. The fact that you have 1 minute in a 30% cut rate business, you have 1 minute to clean up these faces. I have a pretty sharp face. You know what I mean? I don't mean sharp that I'm handsome. I mean sharp that I'm rigid right here. I have a pretty sharp face, and I know I make those guys earn their money every time that I fight, and they send me out of that ring looking pretty damn good as far as like any type of bleeding. Dan Godoy caught me right here in the nose, and it split my nose wide open. My nostril went flat, and it was weird. My nostril went flat. My cornermen were like, "What the hell happened?" You know. And G put some epinephrine on there, did it, and it literally went back to life. So
Okay.
the fact that those guys are wizards, dude. Those guys are magicians.
Like I said, we see it in MMA. The referee says, "Do something, fight back, or I'm going to stop it." So, like I said, that would be something that I would love to see BKFC do. Like I said, if you think a fighter's not doing enough, at least be vocal and let him know. Because, like I said, you were doing everything right, and suddenly, and like I said, I you can't necessarily fault the ref because he's supposed to be in there and have your best interest at heart. But also, you guys are warriors. You want to go out on your shield.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that everybody would kind of want that. You know what I mean? That you want to go out on your shield. You want to say, "Hey, you know what? I'll take my licks. I got no problem with that."
Sure.
If somebody puts me down, then they put me down. That's part of the game. And I would have preferred to kind of have been given that an opportunity. But again, too, initially I protested a little bit, but even Sean Wheelock said like later on, he's like, well, he's not protesting anymore. That's because what am I going to do? Get in an argument with the ref and have him start the fight 5 minutes later? We know that's not going to happen. I'm a man. I can accept the decision, what happened, and you know whatever. Things happen. Things happen.
Sure. All right, man. That's all I got for you. Do you have any message
So,
for the fans? Anything you'd like to get out there before we call it a night?
yeah, tune in to BKFC 84. Come check it out. Watch it live. Come see it in person. Do something. It's a rad card. You know what I mean? End of the year, way to go out with a bang. And I'm gonna do my damnedest. As always, you know what I mean? I'm an action dude. I'm not a point fighter. I'm about that action. I like it. I'm here to scrap. You know what I mean? You don't see me yeah, I'm not a point fighter, I'll tell you that. You know what I mean? Not a point fighter. So yeah, let's do it, man. Thank you, Gator. I appreciate your time, brother.
All right, man. Thank you so much for your time. Get off your ass. Do some homesteading clips. I want to see some of that stuff, but I appreciate you so much. Good luck with your gym. Can't wait to see your fight, and I can't wait to have you on again.
Hey, with that said, we need to see some bear hunting clips, and also what you did with your, and also you cooking that bear, what you came up with. Okay.
I will send you the video, but it's weird because you're a homesteader. Like I live in the woods. I'm a hunter. You know what I mean? Like, and I posted some stuff, and some people were like, "I can't believe you'd post a picture of a dead bear." People are so weird. So like,
yeah.
It's
but they'll go to the grocery store and they'll buy a pack of meat and just, oh, that's where it comes from. It's like, no. I'm of the mind that if you're gonna eat it, you can get your hands dirty. If I eat it, I'll kill it. No problem. You know what I mean?
All right, man. I agree with you completely. Thank you so much. I love having you on. Can't wait to do it again, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Take care, Gator.